You will know more about mortgages than 99% of Americans, so settle in and watch until the end. I'll tell you about 5 Goliath mortgage myths that really throw people off. Hi, I'm Keith Weinhold, host of the Get Rich Education podcast, where people have been listening to me weekly for nearly 12 years on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Everyone knows that a mortgage rate is the interest rate that a borrower pays on a property loan. Okay, sure, that part is easy, and then, oh boy, the galactic misunderstandings begin about 8 seconds later. This includes what mortgage rates will be both next year and in 2030. Myth number 1 is that mortgage rates are high today. I almost can't believe the number of people that say this, even a few so-called experts. The reality is that mortgage rates have normalized. In fact, levels are currently normal to low. I've shared with you before that the long-term average is 7.7% per Freddie Mac on the 30-year fixed-rate mortgage, and that they do have the best stat set going back to 1971. Here's a look at that entire history. Today's rate is lower than that 7.7, and it has been for quite some time. Rates just don't feel low. After that freakishly low era that we had 5 years ago, they started rising back to normal in 2022 as a response to inflation. It's not just mortgages either, but most other interest rate types of all kinds are on the low side today too. Many rate types are based on the prime rate, which is tied to the federal funds rate, the one that Kevin Warsh sets and is always making news. Well, its long-term average is 4.6%. Today, it is 3.6%, and this effective federal funds rate helps establish rates for credit cards, HELOCs, some business loans, personal loans, all tied to the federal funds rate. So this federal funds rate is a full 1% below the long-run average. Myth 2 is that when mortgage rates rise, home prices fall. People mistakenly think this because when rates rise, well, that must mean payments rise and that hurts affordability. That's not what happens in practice at all over the long run. The reality is that when mortgage rates rise, home prices usually rise too. But sharply rising rates can slow appreciation like we saw in 2022 and 2023. Contrary to popular belief, rates have almost nothing to do with home prices. Just look at history. When mortgage rates went over 18% in 1981, what do you think that home prices did? They kept rising right on through it. We'll only show this next thing briefly because I've covered it before elsewhere. Since 1994, mortgage rates rose 1% or more 6 different times. Home prices went up all 6 times. Even when mortgage rates tripled 3 years ago, home prices still climbed. And how do they do this? The short version of this is that we've got to think about what's happening in the larger economy when interest rates rise. They rise to keep a hot economy from overheating. And when the economy is hot like this, well, that usually means that people are employed, confident, settled, and financially, frankly, pretty flush. So then what do mass people really want to do when they're employed, confident, settled, and financially flush? Well, they want to buy a home. So there are more bidders in a rising rate environment. That is why higher rates usually lead to higher home prices, not lower ones. And they're talking about raising rates again in conditions like we have today because employment has been fairly resilient and inflation is more than double the Fed target rate. All right, well, if higher rates usually mean higher home prices, then do lower rates mean lower home prices? No, because nominally, home prices rarely fall at all. Now, what did rates do when real estate prices had that rare national fall in the years around the 2008 global financial crisis? Do you know, you have any idea what mortgage rates did then? Do you think that mortgage rates were up or down during the global financial crisis when home prices went down? And there's no definitive gray area here. They were clearly either boldly up or boldly down. What do you think? During the global financial crisis, mortgage rates plummeted more than 2%, that was to help save a failing economy. So the one and only time in a century that national home prices fell substantially, mortgage rates also fell substantially. The problem, though, in that 2008 area is that you couldn't often get a loan at all. Banks seized up and they were barely lending then. And a lot of people overlook this. We can't just assume we can get a loan whenever we want it, even when seemingly we're qualified. But it's just amazing how many people believe this second myth and think that rising rates must mean falling prices somehow. I mean, it is one of real estate's most persistent fairy tales. Gosh, it feels like I explain this to somebody every week, that when mortgage rates rise, home prices have too. Just look at history. And if you explain this to somebody, I think really the best thing you can tell them is that history shows, as I like to say, take history over hunches, but people get a mistaken hunch. History shows that mortgage rates just don't have much to do with home prices. That's really a good way to explain it to others. We're talking about 5 mortgage myths today leading up to what level rates are going to be in 2030. Mortgage myth number 3 out of 5 is that the Fed sets mortgage rates. The reality is that they don't. Now, there's a loose correlation there, and you might have already known about this one. Instead, mortgage rates are more closely tied to the 10-year Treasury yield, and that is influenced by inflation expectations and bond market demand and lender spreads and investor appetite for mortgage-backed securities and your very own credit profile and your credit score. That's what affects that. Oh, and if you're finding this breakdown useful, hit like. It helps more than you think, and thanks in advance for the thumbs up. Myth 4 is that you should wait for mortgage rates to fall before buying. The reality is that maybe you should, but usually not. And let me tell you why. And again, we can just look at history here. Almost every time you look back at how much property you owned and when you added it to your portfolio, or even when you bought your first house, you almost never think, oh gosh, I sure would have been better off if I had waited for 2 years. I mean, that rarely, if ever, occurs. And if you do wait 2 years, prices will almost certainly be higher, and then you don't know where mortgage rates are going to be. Run the numbers, and you'll probably see that waiting is not some free lunch that some people seem to think that it is. The main problem with waiting is that it delays how real wealth gets created for you from the 5 ways that real estate pays. And to my earlier point, if you wait until later, you can probably still get a loan, but that might not even be there. Mortgage markets can seize up in times of distress, and you might not get a loan at all. That's when waiting gets extremely expensive because that can mess with all of your life's plans. Many just assume the credit's always going to be available. We don't know that for sure. In fact, what if you don't wait and then you do end up buying and it ends up being a bad time? I had it happen to me, my most ill-timed real estate purchase ever, when I bought a green fourplex building in May of 2007 for $530,000. I mentioned this to you before. This was a nice building. Every tenant had their own attached one-car garage in that one. As usual, I decided to build my portfolio and not wait. And that was a big purchase for me at the time, by the way, about 20 years ago. Perhaps that's a $1 million purchase in today's inflation-adjusted terms. All right, well, what happened just after I bought this green fourplex in 2007? The global financial crisis. That building's value temporarily went down. All right, well, I was still paid the other 4 ways that real estate pays. That green fourplex's value dipped and fully recovered by 2012 or 2013, and it made me positive cash flow every month while I held it during the time in which its value was temporarily suppressed. I mean, kind of who cares if its value was temporarily suppressed? I sure didn't want to sell it when it was paying me every month anyway. And now that was the worst scenario and worst real estate conditions, worst timing in anybody's lifetime as well. So the point is, waiting rarely helps, because here I decided to acted with the worst timing imaginable, and it still didn't cause me any net harm. And here's what else happens with the strategy of waiting for rates to fall. When rates fall, more buyers tend to rush in because now you've got more borrowers who qualify for a mortgage that didn't previously. This means more competition, fewer seller concessions, and higher prices. It might even create bidding wars like we had in 2021 with those super low rates. The last of the 5 myths is that mortgage rates can be predicted, so you had better pay close attention to forecasts. The reality is that you can count on mortgage rate predictions about as much as to whether your contractor is actually coming on Tuesday. Let me tell you what the most prominent analysts and agencies have to say about the future of mortgage rate levels. Amalgamating forecasts from Fannie Mae, Wells Fargo, and the Mortgage Bankers Association, by the end of next year, they all cluster in a range of 6.2 to 6.5% for the 30-year mortgage, and for 2030, it's about 5.7%. And I've got more important information for you on the 5.7% mortgage rate forecast for 2030 shortly. But first, if you want a mortgage rate of about 5% or even lower today on rental property, and yeah, you heard that right, 5%, kind of like it's 2022 all over again. Here, we know the home builders that are buying it down for you to this level. Brand new build properties with tenants that create income for you. 5% mortgage rates will get you pointed in the right direction. And more importantly, even if 5% rates aren't interesting to you, you get a complimentary real estate investing strategy session. Just book a totally free call with one of our GRE investment coaches at greinvestmentcoach.com. As for those forecasts, for 5.7% mortgage rates in 2030 and 6.2 to 6.5 by the end of next year, here's what I have to say to you emphatically about that. Don't count on any of those coming true at all. The people at these agencies don't know. AI models don't know. Nobody knows the future of mortgage rates. Making a bold mortgage rate prognostication, that is how economists audition for humiliation. Mortgage rates' future direction, that's based on so many factors: inflation, jobs, treasury yields, deficits, geopolitics, what oil prices are going to be, wars, investor sentiment, which is always all over the place, and whatever new, fresh economic surprise is going to wander in tomorrow. This is why nobody knows where rates are going. And I'll tell you, when I was a new real estate investor and had a property under contract to buy, I remember sometimes asking my mortgage loan officer over the phone, like, hey, now, do you think that mortgage rates are going to be lower next week? Because in that case, maybe I should wait and call back and I'll lock in the rate then. Sheesh, it would have been more useful if they had answered me by reading their horoscope, okay? And what about us here? GRE does not make mortgage rate forecasts. We only make a home price appreciation forecast annually, and we aren't about to make mortgage rate forecasts here either. That is because they're hard to predict. We're here to serve you, and that would not serve you. Now that you know that most forecasts base around 5.7 mortgage rates in 2030, which is useless information, will rates ever be 3% again? I've got an answer. There is no credible forecast that predicts a 3% or even 4% mortgage rate in the next 5 years. Though that's true, at the same time, be mindful. Back in 2019, who really saw 3 and 4% home loan rates on the horizon that COVID ended up bringing? Nobody saw that at all. So things like the Great Recession and a global pandemic, I mean, they're just rarely on the radar. And see, drastic events like that are what it takes to move mortgage rates down into the cellar. But a couple things are for sure. 3% mortgage rates anytime soon are really unlikely, and if it does happen, it means there's been another real-world calamity like COVID or the global financial crisis. I mean, you might rather pay normal market rates than have all that happen again. That's what I can tell you. I've got more to share here, but to summarize what you've learned so far today, in this era, rates of all types are historically a little low. Contrary to popular belief, mortgage rates have almost nothing to do with home prices. Waiting for rates to fall rarely works, and mortgage rates are nearly impossible to predict. Rates are forecast to be 5.7% by 2030, but that means nothing. And my favorite way to make it easy for you to remember how interest rates move an economy is that they are like walls. A high interest rate is like a high wall. It's an impediment to the movement of money. It's hard to hop over because people are less likely to borrow with high rates and more likely to save and keep it in place because savings accounts yield more. A low interest rate is like a low wall that you can easily hop over. It facilitates the movement of money, making you more likely to borrow at low rates and less likely to save at those low rates. That's how interest rates of all types are like walls. If you've got a down payment for income producing property at a 5% mortgage rate, again, book free at greinvestmentcoach.com. Now that you know more about mortgages, understand that banks actually want you to pay off your mortgage early. They're hoping you do. And though an early payoff might sound good to you, that's probably really bad for you financially. Don't fall for it. Here's how sending extra principal payments to the bank backfires and costs you millions of dollars over your life.